Hold up.
Hey guys, it is Tristan with Nerdut's Newsstand, and do you ever have one of those days when you turn on the computer, maybe get a oddly inappropriate email, and then go to YouTube and see that everything is, well, ridiculous? In my last video, I kind of talked about should comic book YouTubers have a responsibility to call out ridiculous, and I got some amazing answers we're going to talk about on Sunday, but I was going to do a review, and then I seen this, and then I seen this again, and all because I watched an interview on Word Balloon about Kelly Sue DeConnick and Wonder Woman Historia, and I reviewed the book myself. So in my recommendations, I keep getting these weirdos talking about how bad it is. Honestly, I'll give you my TLDR of the book. If you didn't see my review, I'll put it down below. But it's not for everyone. That's clear. It is not for everyone. History was written by the victors, and they have their side. Now we're getting the Amazonian side, and we're getting the creation of the Amazons until the day that Steve Trevor washed up on shore. So it is not anything we've ever had before. We've never had that time period told to us, and we're getting it from Kelly Sue DeConnick and Phil Jimenez, and it is honestly amazing. The visual storytelling within this is beautiful, and I will talk too long if I keep telling you about it. This is about the controversy, so check out my video down in the pinned comment. But this is the most ridiculous. And I mean, I've been on YouTube for a while. I've covered some ridiculous controversies. This one kind of takes the cake. Like, you're mad that there's a fictional history for a fictional character that's never been told before, but it's somehow disrespectful to the creator? Excuse me, what? What are we doing here? Now, if you guys remember, I want to kind of compare apples to apples that are a little bit in here. I don't know how you say it. Apples to oranges. If you remember, the other history of the DC universe was told, and it was told through perspective of minority characters, and it wasn't necessarily for me. I said the bones were there, but I actually watched a review by BJ Kicks, and it really kind of sold me on it, because I could tell what that story meant to him. And now I have that story, oddly enough. And I feel maybe oddly defensive of it, but if your issue is the storytelling of a woman or a group of women telling their side of a story of an oppressive patriarchal setting, we've got plenty of those stories. Why are you mad at this one? And a lot of it is coming from the idea that you're going to look at this through a feminine lens. And that's great. Wonder Woman should always be looked at that way. Sometimes she is not. Sometimes she has amazing, and I mean downright amazing runs. George Perez, who we talked about yesterday, I don't want to get into it. I will get sad. Has some of the best written Wonder Woman comics of all time. Hikatea, I say it over and over again, one of my favorite stories. A lot of what those have in common is the warrior side of Wonder Woman. And when Wonder Woman was originally created, it was a different time, right? We're talking about a time where women were clearly oppressed. And I know people are going to push back on me on that. But if your only role in life is to be a mother or to be a wife, that is oppression. Yes, you are mutually benefiting from that type of symbiotic relationship or romantic relationship, depending on the situation. But it is still ridiculous that until the 70s, women couldn't have a credit card. These things existed. This is not rewriting history. This is just history. It is that easy. And I have an issue with anybody who wants to kind of get rid of history when you're hearing schools that won't talk about, the Civil War times and stuff like that. I have a real issue with that because you cannot go through life not knowing where you came from or what you are or who you are or what happened before you, what your ancestors went through, you get a different output or an outlook on life by knowing those things. And I think it's really important that we teach those things, that we learn those things. And yes, you do have to keep in mind every single time you read a history book or you learn a story that history is and always has been written by the victors. And that is why there is, unfortunately, not a lot of objectivity to this story. And she says that right in the beginning. I talked about this when I reviewed it. There is no objective truth to the Amazonian tale. Of course, we're talking about fiction, but even in the DC universe, right? The stories we were told before came from the victors. And it is now finally the time that the Amazons can speak up. And I find it awesome. I find it beautiful. And I find it really weird that people are oddly offended by that. And it comes to all down to this article. We're going to go through actually 2 articles a little bit here, so be patient with me. But whenever you see something like this on Bounding Into Comics, you can sure as shit realize that you're going to have about 17 different YouTubers covering it. And that's just kind of how it goes. And then you attach Kelly Sue DeConnick's name. And because she said one thing 5 years ago, everybody hates her. Well, not everybody. I actually really enjoyed her Aquaman run. She dismantled the monarchy, kind of gave us what we are getting today and the ability to bring in the Aquaman. I enjoyed that. Maybe you did it. Your mileage may vary, but Kelly has the talent. I did read some of her Bitch Planet. It wasn't for me. That's the best I can say about it. There is a difference between somebody wanting to be oppressed and somebody that knows that they previously were. There is no need to want to be oppressed. You should want to rise above. And that book very much felt to me like it was a need to be oppressed. And I'm not okay. And that's not my type of book. And that's okay. Guess what? It wasn't made for me. Again, I'm okay with that. So let's go through a little bit of what this says. And it is discussing Wonder Woman Historia. DC blog, I just showed you that, right? So it says, admittedly not interested in Greek history or doing more than some research. Now, these guys kind of roast like IGN and Kotaku all the time, but they're basically the right-leaning version of them, right? That's kind of how it is. It says here, she wants to revise Amazonian history to fit her impression of it now. No. There is no history for this part. Do you understand what I'm saying? And if it is, and if there is, it was written again. Do we have to keep doing this by the victors? Like, remember how I started this video out saying, do you ever have one of those days where you just want to da-da-da-da-da? Yeah, this is one of those days where I just want to like bang my head into my computer, right? Stupidity. I can't stand stupidity. And it's not even that I think this is stupidly written. I think it is blindly stupid, right? It's doing it to present a narrative. And that's really where I have the issue with this. So it says, admittedly, right, she just went through, and of course this stupid thing's going to be in the way, listen to hours of lectures for research, right? But he doesn't actually go through and give the full quote, right? She said she wasn't interested, not overtly interested in the actual Greek history or the Mediterranean because this isn't really that story. So she did some research. She went through the Great Courses Plus, which is a series of actual professors giving their actual lectures and standing very accurately on a soundstage, right? She goes through all the stuff, the ancient Greece, the Athens, all the lectures, what it was like to be a slave, what it was like to be a woman, the different roles from day-to-day life, what it would be like in that society, what it would be like living in Greece at that time for different groups of people, whether it is men, women, minorities, gay, slaves, whatever. She went through all of that. She also talks about some of the Van Diver lectures on mythology and Adrian Meyer books, right? which is a real history. But she just wanted, that's the line you get there. They just say some lectures. And why won't this go away? There we go. But it was some research, sorry. They're trying to gaslight her, right? Oh, she didn't really do any research. But we're not going to give you the full quote because we want to be purposefully misleading. Because this is fiction and we write about the past today. We're not really writing about the past. That's true. We're writing about today. Comics have always been a reflection of bigger societal issues, society as a whole. And that's just honest facts there, right? There's no point in making art about the past unless you're using it to talk about the present or future. And if you go back into, I believe it's Stanley's Soapboxes, where he talks about there's no point in telling a story unless it has some sort of bigger meaning, unless it has some sort of lesson at the end. This isn't the first person to say this. This is pretty typical for comics. And then she also goes on when she was asked about peace and love, how you balance that utopian peace and love, right, image with the Amazons. And she said, I think there's a thing that happens sometimes when men are trying to celebrate women. And I want you to, before I go into this too much, I want you to listen to what she says. I want you to hear what she says, right? And I want to give my perspective on this as a woman, because this is the video I seen or a couple of them, just completely gaslighting this part. So I want you to actually hear what she has to say. I think there's a thing that happens sometimes when men are trying to celebrate women. And it happens sometimes when women are trying to celebrate women as well. But it happens a lot when men are trying to celebrate women. Women get put on a pedestal in a way to suggest that women are better, right? They are more communal. They are more gentle. They are more nurturing. They're not aggressive. They're not like those terrible, awful men, right? And putting someone on a pedestal is another way of putting them in a box. It's not helpful. It's limiting. It's not equalizing. It continues to otherize us. So the idea that a society of women would be more communal makes a lot of assumptions about women as sort of essentialists. It really discounts how much of a way women has to do with what women are asked or forced to do with culturally. Now, again, some parts were taken out. Nothing of really significance here to their benefit here. So what I think I want to get over on this part is she's not wrong. Women are generally put in this box as they are more gentle. They are more maternal. And those things may be biological and also, common. But you cannot put women in a box when it is not every woman. Not every woman is maternal, nor should have children. There are some, never mind. I was talking about my mom there. Never mind. You should, if you really truly want equality, you have to look at them in an equal space, in an equal playing ground. Women can be maternal. Women can be gentler, but so can men at some point. And if you continue to otherize us, there is no true equality. There are stereotypes out there, and it's really hard to get around. And I am not saying that. But the idea that a woman warrior is so foreign is ridiculous. Wonder Woman is an amazing character. Her mythology is deep, and it's getting deeper as we see stuff with Nubia, as we see stuff with this, even though this is not canonical. Keep that in mind. This is Black Label. But the idea that we're diving more into that mythological side, we're diving in and making it more rich with Wonder Girl, which is selling great, along with Wonder Woman's not ever been a good seller. It's usually about 40K units. And that's really what this is with Becky Cloonan and Michael Conrad. It's been good, but that's about what it's selling. Wonder Girl is actually selling better, and I love Wonder Girl. I really think there is a younger generation of readers that also can dive into that character and see themselves more in that character, because she's a little funky, right? She talks back. I love that about that character. And really, when you continue to otherize somebody in this sense, there is no equality. And I do see this. They also miss a lot of this. they completely left this out, right? When they talk about it, women are not forthright. Women don't ask what they want. Women are manipulative to get what they want. They do it in backhanded ways, right? For centuries. Women's safety has depended on the comfort of men around them. And so prioritizing the comfort of men and getting their own needs met in a way that didn't appear demanding or burdensome for a survival adaptation. So when we talk about a society of Amazon's warriors, we are talking about a society of warriors. You don't have to say women, right? Right. And the idea that warriors existing to protect peace transcends gender. And it is in a historical notion. Yes, absolutely. That's why we appear a standing army today. Yeah, exactly. They left all of that out. All of it. Because it doesn't fit their narrative. It absolutely doesn't. And it's just, we do this over and over again. I don't know why I ever take them seriously. I don't know why anybody does. And it's funny to see these that react to these, right? This video is going to be super unpopular, but I don't care. It's funny to see these people that react to them and they're like, this is a dead company. Buy my book. I'm going to be the greatest author ever. I'm going to make my own book and it's going to outsell anything at DC Comics. Shut up. You're not. Nobody with a real IQ above room temperature takes you seriously. Come on now. So they go on to say about Phil Jimenez, the artist on this project. Oh, Phil Jimenez, you need to do more. Like I would pay top dollar for your books if you continue this. I am so worried that it is going to drop off with Gene Ha and Joelle Jones, who are both very, very talented, but this is in line for best book of the year with Echolands. No doubt about it. Those two right now, maybe Radio Apocalypse, but those two right now are in line for my best books of the year. Of the year. It is that damn good. So he says, we all know the Marston stuff, right? And they're going to go on about sexuality because, Bounding Into Comics doesn't like anything gay. Okay. Wonder Woman's gay. Deal with it. Like I said on my live stream last week, nobody can legally force you to suck a dick. It's not that serious. Why are you offended by such silly things? When William Morton Marston, the person that Wonder Woman was created after, this is actually from the movie, but was bisexual herself. Why are we discussing this? Wonder Woman was made of bondage and fetishes and in polyamory and crazy sex. What is this a counter? Again, banging my head on a keyboard. I don't get it sometimes. People amaze me. Just kidding. They never cease to stop surprising me with their stupidity. That's what I meant to say there. So anyways, super friendly video, gonna be super popular. Everybody loves that kind of thing. And me bitching, right? Yeah, no. Ridiculous. If you don't like the book, I get it. I get it. It's from a female perspective. I understand it. And that's okay. If you don't like the artwork, I might think you're a little crazy. There we can at least agree upon. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about this super controversial video. Now, and I do want to clear something up before I go. It was said in one of the videos I listened to that that Nubia was Wonder Woman before Diana was. That's not true. That's completely fabricated. She was simply an Amazon before Diana was, not Wonder Woman. And you think if you worked for DC, you would know the difference, but again, never cease to surprise me. So tomorrow, I promise I will have a positive video. I promise. I will.